Welcome back to 411 Now. But today, I want to give you and everyone out there an update on a case that I first recorded, and did a video on over 6 years ago now about a subscriber of mine to this actual YouTube and social media, channels 411 Now. This subscriber is Deborah Jane Martin. Deborah Jane Martin was a frequent member of every single live stream. She commented, a lot. She was very prolific, in being here and supporting my content. Not only did she comment in the live stream, she commented on videos, and a lot of people got to know her by her 2 or 3 different screen names that she used at that time. Tragedy back in June of 2019 took its ugly head and it reared up. But there's a bigger picture to all of this. Deborah Jane Martin, on this particular day, back in June of 2019, ended up killing both of her father and her mother. This took place on Derbyshire Lane in Arlington Heights, Illinois. Deborah ended up stabbing her father to death and slashing his throat while he sat in his recliner chair in the living room. Then she walked into the kitchen with her mom hysterical and screaming at her, "What did you do, Deborah? What did you just do?" Walking towards her with the knife. Her mother picked up the phone and called 911. And yes, the 911 audio recordings can be heard and found online. But that's only a small part of the entire picture. After her mom begged for her life while on the phone, Deborah stabbed her 7 times and killed her. Then calmly walked over to the dining room, like kitchen area, nook area, to a 1970s linoleum top chair that, that is chrome covered. You may have seen that your parents may have had. Set the knife on the chair itself, and then walked upstairs, took a shower, and waited for law enforcement to come to the house. She took a shower and then waited for law enforcement. And when they came and they found the bloodbath that was inside the house of her 2 dead parents, she just calmly put her hands out in front of her, wrist to wrist, and said, "Let's go." And then they led her to the police car after patting her down. And that was it. And there, for the longest time, there wasn't any updates. But a friend of Deborah's would eventually reach out to me and act as a go-between between Deborah, her attorney, the court-appointed attorney, and me, giving me updates on where everything was going at that time. Psychiatric evaluations, the court hearings, bond hearings. Deborah didn't want to go anywhere. She never wanted to leave jail. She didn't want the bond hearing. In fact, when her attorney put forth the bond, hearing and petitioned to actually get her bond, she refused to even come to court to be part of the bond hearing. She knew if there was ever going to be a bond, it would be higher than what she could ever afford. She knew that she didn't deserve to be out there anywhere. But to go back a little bit in this entire story, before she killed her parents, for months and months on end, Deborah journaled that she was thinking about killing her parents and herself. See, Deborah had been suffering from several different mental health issues all at the same time. The state had cut her off from assistance with seeing her psychiatrist at the state, clinic where she was going. And all they kept on doing was shoving more and more medication at her. And she didn't like it. She said to me in multiple different comments here on videos, well, back then and 6 years ago, that she felt like a zombie, that she didn't feel like herself anymore. She felt like the world was slipping away and she just couldn't take it anymore. Reaching out for help to me, someone she barely knew online. Yes, we would exchange some emails back and forth, along with the, other communication with her friend later on. But there was nothing that was going to stop it. I couldn't do anything from where I was. Even if I saw the signs that she was in, a emotional state, that what am I supposed to do from a couple thousand miles away? Am I supposed to reach out and contact authorities? Was I supposed to contact her only friend that I knew she had in this world, her outlet, the one person who, helped her try to get somewhere? And it should be noted, by moving back into the home with her mother and father, the abuse, emotional abuse, and sometimes physical abuse from her father was just too much. But now, the update on where and what has happened with Deborah Jane Martin in the 6 years since these tragic events took place. Deborah Martin was deemed to be not able to aid in her own defense in court. But that doesn't stop the state of Illinois from wanting to prosecute her, even though their own psychiatrists and therapists who had spoken with Deborah before the case would ever start after the bond hearing, they determined she can't aid in her own defense. She did not know necessarily right from wrong at that time. State of Illinois still didn't care. They were going forward. They wanted to prosecute her, and if they could put the needle in her arm, they wanted to do that. Luckily for Deborah, and, well, unluckily for Deborah as well, she was able to find an advocate, a state representative for the state of Illinois, who heard about the case and heard about the outcome of the psychiatric evaluation. And that for, not only the defense attorneys, their experts, but the state's experts themselves determined she can't be, tried. She can't be, put on trial and prosecuted for this. She didn't know what was going on. She had a mental break that day. Everything had gotten to the point, even if she thought about it or planned it beforehand, that day, she did not know right from wrong. She did not know until after she had taken a shower of the events that had taken place. It all happened in the span of 3.5 minutes. Stabbing, killing her father, and then walking to the kitchen and attacking her mother while on the phone with 911. 3.5 minutes. Deborah has been sent to a psychiatric hospital where she still is. And they've been trying to, all these years, give her restorative care to get her back to the point where they can go forward and prosecute her. The state has never stopped or wanted to stop the prosecution of Deborah Jane Martin. Over the years, I've heard sporadically here and there from Deborah through her friend. Her friend she wrote letters to her friend to forward to me. The letters make no sense. Sometimes she refers to me by my name. Other times, she refers to the joy in the outlet that she got from watching my content on YouTube and on Facebook. But she doesn't have a connection to reality. Eventually, I had to stop the communication and tell her friend, no more. No more. That was about the year 3, going into year 4, while she's at the state hospital getting restorative care. I had to cut it off because the letters got more and more random and, unfortunately, violent. in nature about what she wanted to do and how she wanted access to my minor children. I can't do that. I can't allow that. I had to put a stop to it. Her friend understood completely. She's out of her mind. No, nothing that the state has done in all these years are ever going to get her back to the point where she could stand trial. And the state of Illinois knows that to a fact, but they're still hoping there's a chance that they can get her back to the point where she can be put on trial. So she will face justice in the state of Illinois' eyes. But in Deborah's mind, she's been punished for far too long. If she was ever to be restored, she's 43 years old when she committed these acts. She is now almost 50. And she still doesn't know what year it is, where she is, or why she's being held there. I feel bad for her. So just remember, the next time you're on YouTube or a social media platform and you see someone who leaves a comment that is rambling, may not make any sense to you at all, or maybe it doesn't have anything to do with the topic that that they're commenting on. You don't know their situation. You don't know what's going on behind their doors. And now to the tragic part. Deborah doesn't want to be alive, even today. With all of the restorative care medication that they have her on, from what her friend says, is a lot. She's a walking zombie again and spends most of her day just staring out a window. But she can't communicate what is going on in her head. She is truly insane. My heart goes out to the family, the father and the mother that she tragically killed that day back in June of 2019, along with all of their friends and extended family members. My heart goes out to them all. My heart goes out to Deborah's only friend in this world, the one and only person who is now in her 80s herself, who still tries to visit and keep some kind of contact with Deborah because she knows this is Deborah's fault. But Deborah did not know right from wrong. Even before she did it, she knew Deborah was a threat to herself. She never knew that she would act out in violence against her mother and her father. Please, I beg of you, please, have compassion for the next person. And remember, no one out here knows exactly what is going on with the person on the other side of those comments and the people you may see online. They may act like, a bubbling, happy go individual. And then as soon as that camera is off, they're in their deep, dark, depressive state. You never, ever know.